Well, hello and welcome to the show. I'm Joe Hyde, the publisher of San Angelo Live. I'm with Herbie Belofsky. He's also known as Snap Crackle.
Herbie Snap Crackle.
Herbie Snap Crackle.
Right.
Now, he's a musician, and he fell in love with San Angelo and found the chicken farm, which I wrote an article about the chicken farm many years ago, about 20 years ago. And I said, it's where all the Democrats hang out. But, but it's bigger than that. I mean, it's an arts community there.
It is.
And you have transitioned from being a paid musician, and I'm sure you're still doing that. But your love of your life now is, I guess, pottery.
It is. So there's a little story about how I got so involved in pottery, and it starts with a guy who moved here from Port Aransas named Gary Cosmas.
Moved to San Angelo.
Moved to San Angelo with his wife Sylvia Perez, who's the gallery manager at the chicken farm.
Okay.
So when I was in Port Aransas playing with Larry Joe Taylor at a concert, we were playing 2 nights in a row,
Right.
and I saw this pottery shop called Potter on Cotter across the street from the historic Tarpon Inn where I was staying.
Okay.
And I walked out onto the street to pottery, and I saw a woman that was painting on an easel the hotel, the historic hotel, and I stood there with my coffee and watched her for a while, and was waiting for Gary to open the shop. I didn't know Gary at this time, and David Osborne is another local artist who's here this weekend. The Port A Spoon Man walked up and we talked for a while, and Felicia Foster is painting, and she's like, amazing. You know, she's an architect too, so she's really got a style. And so anyway, we talked about the Potter on Cotter, and I walked in and I said, hey, can we talk pottery? And Gary said, you mind if I work while we talk? And I said, no, I get to watch. And then 5.5 hours later, we're still, you know, he's like become a mentor. He showed me a bunch of things. And then I said, hey, you want to come to a concert? I got to go set up my drums. And he and Sylvia came to see me play that night. We became good friends. Well, a year later, I've seen them several times, you know, when I played concerts down there over that year, and then they moved to San Angelo. And Gary's a 50-year master potter, so he's a really, really amazing artist. And he's also an amazing teacher. And I'm a drum teacher. I taught drum lessons for 25 years along with performing.
Right.
And so I recognized in him the sharing aspect, because honestly,
So a teacher can tell when another person has the art of teaching.
oh yeah, the sharing element, you know, the desire and the love and a passion for what they do, to share that with somebody because they see the interest and they want to fan that flame. Well, so I'd only been doing pottery with my daughter for 6 months at that time in classes. And Gary showed me things that really set me on fire. And I went back with my daughter into these classes and started making better stuff. And over time, I made so much stuff in the first couple of weeks that I had to start learning how to slow down. So I would throw pots and then I'd put them together and then I would dress them up with faces or guitars or things like that. They made little statuettes out of them. And I sent one to Gary, and he sent me a note back that said, your statue's here. My wife thinks it's so stinking cute. Can you make her one? So I did. And she makes these little 2x2-inch art frames. And so I made kitties because she does kitties and angels. And so I put those around it and I sent that to her. Anyway, those two people have been the reason why I came to San Angelo. And now Sylvia, when she came here, she's the manager of the gallery at the Chicken Farm Art Center, and she introduced me to Chastity and Justin. So in this first segment, I want to say thank you to the Chicken Farm and all the people that are there, the artists that I have met there, Justin and Chastity who own the place, and Gary and Sylvia. That's why I came to San Angelo.
So you're taking your art now and you're kind of doing a fundraiser, but it's kind of cool because these are naked sheep.
That's right.
It looks like kind of like a pig, though.
Well, some of them, you know, they're all a little different, yeah.
But you allowed people who are aspiring artists
That's right.
to decorate these little small sheep.
That's right.
And I don't know if you can see it on this right here is a photo of all these decorated sheep. How many people have decorated a sheep so far?
90.
90 people.
Yeah. I put out a call to artists along with Edith Perez. That's another thank you, is Edith Perez. She helped me do this poster and organize this whole thing. She's a local artist who makes clay cakes.
Right.
You know, they look like wedding cakes. Unbelievable. You got to see her stuff. Well, anyway, I thought about the way she does cake piping as a way to put wool on here. And so there's a couple of them that she did like that are magnificent. And then I talked to Heather Harden, who's the pirate monkey, who has a studio at the chicken farm.
When you say pirate monkey, is that her call sign? Or
that's her name of her studio.
Oh, the pirate monkey.
The pirate monkey. And see, I had made a bunch of monkeys before sheep.
Right.
So, in fact,
you started with monkeys, and now you've graduated to sheep.
Right. Well,
or horses, bulls.
No, bats were in between, because Austin has the bats under the bridge.
I got you.
So I did about 200 bats in Austin first, and then the sheep, and then also I'm making a symphony now. So like a
whole symphony.
A whole symphony, 60 pieces, because I'm trying to make what I call collective nouns. And a girl named Leah told me about collective nouns. When you name a group, like a flock of sheep,
right.
or a
and we got an
colony
argument
bats,
about, you really call a bunch
a flock
of sheep.
versus
It's not
a herd.
Yeah.
Now, herd is a second choice.
I think you need to do alpacas next.
Okay, well, I'll have to look up and see what you call a herd of alpacas. Yeah. Maybe a herd of alpacas.
Might be. Who knows?
Well, in alpacas, they put in the field to protect the sheep, right?
I know. You have one alpaca per herd, or per flock.
Per flock, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that you're right. That's a good possibility. Well, I'm doing the symphony currently. I'm about 6-7 pieces into it right now.
Did you start with the string section or the brass section?
I'm a drummer.
Oh, you started with percussion?
Well, I did start with I did 4 violinists, and now I've got a bass drummer, timpani, a snare drum, and crash cymbals so
Imagine
far.
That.
So I've got 8 now, and then but I'm going to make.
But
that
on the
60.
timpani, you need like 3 of them, right? One
player.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. Well, but I'm counting the timpani player as one position, even though there's 3 timpani.
Gotcha.
Or one bass drum and a guy standing next to it, right?
Right.
So the fiddle players, violin players, in symphony's case, it's the same thing really, but in country music you call them fiddle.
Right.
So I've got 4 of them already, but when I look at,
so you have the first chair, second chair, third chair, fourth chair.
Well, in a symphony they have first violins, second violins, violas, cellos, and then basses. So that in itself is a lot of it, okay?
Right.
And when you look at a diagram for a symphony seating chart, there's like 16 first violins and 16 second violins.
Right.
So I've only done 4, and I don't think I'm going to do 16 of each, but I'm probably going to do about 20 violins for the violin section, and maybe 6 or 8 violas, and the same with cellos, and 5 or 6
You need to have
basses.
more cellos. I
like cellos.
I think you have as many cellos as violins because they balance. And I don't know what the viola is good for. I mean, viola is just kind of
Viola's a deeper violin, so
Yeah,
it's an in-between sonic range between the higher violin, the middle of the viola, and the low mid of the cello, and then the basses.
Now you can get away with 4 basses, I think.
Yeah, but I love the bass, so I'm going to have to do probably 6.
You're going to do
maybe
6.
8. Maybe
so you're going to
8.
do 6 basses and not any violas.
Oh no, I'm going to do violas too. But the thing is, it's going to be hard at this scale to tell the difference between a violin and a viola.
Exactly.
So.
But so this is a fundraiser, and you have an auction going on for these 90 sheep that have been decorated. These small little desktop sheep.
That's right.
And the last day to bid on them is tomorrow.
It's Saturday.
Saturday. We'll say Saturday, December 6th, in case you're looking at this in 2029.
Right, and the bidding ends at 3 o'clock.
Okay.
But here's what you need to know. They have a first Saturday market every first Saturday of the month. And this is the last one of the year because it's December. Well, get there at 11 when it opens, and you have between 11 and 3 to put your bids in. At 3 o'clock, the bidding closes. And then we're going to take a group picture of all the artists. Okay. It's kind of like a yearbook photo. And then Guitar Grady's going to play for an hour and a half to 2 hours after that for anybody that wants to stick around.
Who is Guitar Grady?
Well, so I'm in a band called Guitar Grady in Austin. Okay. It's a trio. And Guitar Grady and I have played together for
So it's a band.
years.
It's not one dude named Grady.
That's right. It's 3 of us. Well, no, the leader of the band is named Grady Pinkerton. But we call him Guitar Grady, and he plays a lot of different styles and sings. But we do a lot of music from New Orleans and Louisiana. Mm-hmm. We do a lot of music from old roots, surf rock, like guitar instrumentals. We do stuff like Bob Dylan, obscure songs.
Well, stop for a second. When you say you do things from Louisiana, is it like Zydeco or is it more country?
No, it's more like Lazy Lester. It's like blues and what they call swamp pop.
Okay.
So there's artists like like Silas Hogan or Jim Beam and the 4/5. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Where there's some songs by people that you haven't heard, but maybe you've heard Irma Thomas.
I'm gonna be American Honey in the 4/5.
There you go. So
Anyway.
it's there's a lot of Slim Harpo. Okay, Slim Harpo was a really famous Louisiana musician, and Lazy Lester was his cousin.
So this is South Louisiana. This is more New Orleans style.
Well, it's kind of a broad range because Crowley's in the up by Shreveport. They have a really diverse musical thing going on there. Dr. John, like there's a lot of stuff, but I would call it closer to the Jimmy Reed side of blues, and the things like Irma Thomas, like that kind of music. But we also do some Texas music, or we do a song by Roger Miller. We do Hank Williams. We do a lot of different styles. A lot of Chuck Berry. There's just it depends on the audience, because Grady probably knows 20,000 songs.
I had a little bit of experience with Louisiana music. When I was stationed there, I was at Barksdale. I was a bomber pilot at Barksdale Air Force Base, and one of the things I decided I wanted to do in order to relax was to learn how to play the electric guitar, or just play the guitar.
Right.
So I started
you played trombone.
Yeah, I played trombone. So I took lessons from a guy named Danny Wilder.
Okay.
And Danny Wilder was kind of like this famous, regionally famous guitar guy, and he was also the guitar instructor for Kenny Wayne Shepherd.
Okay.
And Kenny Wayne Shepherd, if you're not familiar, that's Northern Louisiana blues.
Sure.
Basically, I guess he's kind of a cross between Jimi Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan. So he's not as technical in his performance as Stevie Ray, but he has a little feel like Jimi Hendrix. That's how I would describe him.
Yeah.
And he's got a song called Blue and Black. And the interesting thing was Blue and Black was discovered in a juke joint south of Louisiana. You go down the Red River toward Alexandria.
Right.
It was somewhere down there where they found this old blues man, this black guy, and he had written that song. And that's where Blue and Black came from. Blue and black lines on the river. Things like, it's basically saying if it's blue and black, it doesn't matter because you can't see it. Right. And that was the meaning of the song. But of course, you had the Louisiana Hayride back then.
Oh yeah.
So there's a lot of music around that I guess central to northern Louisiana that's kind of interesting.
Well, and Grady moved from New Orleans and Baton Rouge area to Austin many years ago.
Right.
And he and I played with a gentleman called Billy Bacon and the Forbidden Pigs. And we did, yeah, that's true. Now, Billy was a great singer, bless his heart. He's passed on, but he sang and played bass, and he had a song that was on the Texas Tornadoes' greatest hits record called Una Mas Cerveza that he wrote. And that
more beer.
Yes, and it's a funny song about a gringo that goes into a bar that's got banditos in it, and they surround him with guns, and he doesn't know any Spanish except for Una Mas Cerveza, and that's what he said. And they say, "What do you have to say?" He says, "Una Mas Cerveza," and they all cheer and have a beer together. So that's what the song's about. And anyway, Grady and I played with Billy for a dozen years, but it was at a point in his career where he had gotten rheumatoid arthritis, so he was really stove up. 'Cause some days couldn't get out of bed, but he had to be Billy Bacon, and so we got him to play Green Hall like once a month on a Sunday, and we did that for about 10 years, and that was the one way we could get this guy who is otherwise really having trouble just getting around to get to be himself.
You probably brought some joy to him too.
We did, and to a lot of audiences. I mean, we packed that Green Hall place. Every Sunday we played there, and made good money doing it. But the thing is that guy had a great tenor voice. Like, he could sing Danny Boy, and you'd just you'd know you were hearing it from the authentic Irish tenor singer.
So your band's going to play from what time?
3:30 to 5.
3:30 to 5.
Yeah, maybe a little longer. Depends on.
You're gonna close the auction. It's not going to be a live auction.
No, it's a silent auction. You just sign a paper and let us know who you are and what your bid is, and then at the end of it, we'll like say have this yearbook picture. What's really important to note is that the money that this funds pays these artists. So we're talking about supporting the local community of artists, and it also supports the chicken farm, who gets a commission for selling all the stuff they sell, right? And then the money that goes above a certain amount will then fund art scholarships. But what we want to do, again, to support this artist community is pay artists who are great teachers to teach workshops to kids who don't have to pay to be there to learn this stuff. So it's a kind of a double scholarship in the sense that teachers get paid and the kids get the knowledge.
Give the audience a kind of an idea of what these sheep are going for. Is it
So the opening bid is $200.
Okay.
Right, and then and we're hoping to get that bid up to about $300 so that we can really fund these art scholarships.
Okay.
Thing is that the ones that are around town are pretty expensive and it takes a lot of.
You're talking about the big ones, the life size ones.
They're great. That's what inspired this. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but very few people can bring one of those home. Right.
Right.
So this is something that's similar to that for not as much money, but you can bring it to your office. You can bring it to your mantle at home, and I know the sheep culture is really important here. It's an important part of the history.
Right.
So what's also important to realize is that this is what you call an economic growth sector. Your creative talent in this town, the visual arts capital of Texas, it's a growing sector, and there's a lot of talent here.
Right.
I mean, this is just evidence of it, but it's not just evidence of the amount of talent. It's evidence of these are the kind of people that will come together as a community and do a project like this. I mean, they really impress me.
Okay.
And I call it, I love Austin for the music, but this is my art family, St. Angelo.
All right, with Bernie, it's first Saturday at the Chicken Farm Arts Center. It's up there on North MLK.
Right.
Anyone can just Google Chicken Farm and you'll find the exact number. It's 11 a.m.
Yep, to 6 or
11,
to 5.
11, but you got to bid on these things from 11 till 2ish, till 3.
Till 3.
And then you'll close the auction at 3 o'clock. Have the big family photo, and then a band strikes up.
That's right. And it's also important to note that they're open today. You can go today.
You can go bid it out.
You could go bid now, and you could go see them and hang out. And come for the sheep, but stay for the art because there's a lot of art in this gallery.
How late is it open on Fridays?
Till 6.
Till 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, Bernie, thanks for coming on the show.